wanna do now is making it last. Mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, friends forever, strengthening the ties that keep us together. Mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, friends forever, strengthening the ties that keep us together.
It's time for another conversation. This is Making It Last podcast with your host, Noreen Daly, where it's all about helping you to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. And the topic for discussion this time around is what can you do to remain mentally fit? And joining me is Dr. Jason Wynter, Counselling Psychologist from Northern Caribbean University. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, and hello, listeners.
Now, what can you do to remain mentally fit, Dr. Wynter?
I'm happy you asked that question. And immediately, there's a sound that comes to my mind. But I'm such a bad singer. There's another part of that, physically fit. Yes, physically. It has a rhythm, but kind of a song to it. But I won't get into that. So when you say mentally fit, I get excited to talk about mental health topic, by the way.
Okay.
Because it's one area of life, of wellness. Many times persons underlook or overlook. It's probably under, really. They just don't give it the time of the day to say, how can I take care of mental health? And so there are a number of tips and pointers. But before I even get into that, just to create an understanding of the importance of why fitness mentally is so appropriate. Now, each year the world observes Mental Health Week. And some geographical areas have it at different time. I know in the Western Hemisphere it's sometime in October, and chances are in the European context or areas it's somewhere about May. But for the Western world's observance of Mental Health Week in October, the focus was about youth or young, the young and mental health. And it's interesting for us to know that mental health issues, generally the onset or prevalence tends to be between ages 15 and 25. Now, some persons will have what you call very fluid definition of young or the youth. Some will give you up until 35, ages 35. Some will say 30. Some will say 25 in terms of youth. Young adults can be considered young. And so the World Health Organization tells us that between ages of 15 to 25, the onset of mental health issues are at its highest. And no, that's symbolic, that's very, very symbolic, because in mental health, again, 15 to 25, that's a serious developmental things going, some serious developmental things going. You're understanding yourself, identity, career selection, mate selection. You are setting yourself up for life. Essentially, you do have persons who have late starts in life, but whatever the situation or the factors that would have predisposes or causes that, by and large, between 15 to 25, you're putting things in motion for the rest of your life. Mind you, things are dynamic now. Persons are becoming multifaceted, doing dual careers, and all of that yet still takes place within this particular period of life. And so it is that you, as a young person, as youth, your developmental, your productivity, your efficiency years are in that period of time where you launch yourself. So if you don't sort yourself out mentally, you might retard your own financial growth as a person for later on in life. So the earlier you can put things in place, the earlier you can enjoy the rest of your life, to speak. And so we wanted to pay special attention to that. And now, another thing too, females, depending on certain mental health issue, are more prone to certain mental health issue, in particular the mood-related disorders. So you have to understand that youth, or males in particular, are more prone to the substance-based disorders round about this time. So we want to get that clear. And these two general areas of mental health disorders, yet again, can cause a certain great concern. Now, later on, we'll talk about substance use and how that ties, how you can safeguard yourself from going down a path that will derail your mental fitness or mental alertness or mental wellness, so to speak, as we focus the conversation on being mentally fit. So I just thought how important it is for us to set that background in terms of mental health and the young. And let's bring in a bit on the physical side. Physical side in terms of brain development, physical brain development. All that we do, we say, we eat, we move, we work, goes back to our brains being functional. Now the brain is, involved. Well, it's two hemispheres, your left and your right. In a nutshell, your right side or your right hemisphere controls your left side of the body, whereas your left hemisphere in your brain controls the right side of the body. And your brain lobes, frontal lobe, occipital lobe, peripheral lobe, etc. One of the key things in terms of brain development for cognitive functioning, higher cognitive functioning, is not until around age 21. The scientists will tell us that your brain is fully developed, not until about age 21. So what that is telling us, the young and the youth, get things right in this period of time so that the projection of your life can be in good stead. And that's why in many countries in the world, alcohol consumption not legal until you're 21, where your thought processes, executive functioning, where you're conscious of your actions, not until 21. Some countries have it at 18, and there's the geopolitical or the economic issues. We don't want to get involved in that, but we want to stick to the conversation about being mentally fit.
Before we continue, though, I'm just somewhat curious in terms of why is it that males, tend to be susceptible, if that's the correct term, in terms of substance. You said they gravitate towards substance abuse while the females moved.
Interesting enough, we got sociocultural issues, and by virtue of sociocultural issues, we're talking about what's your background like, what's the norm in your society, in your area of the woods, where you live. How do they relate to men? How do they relate to boys? How do they relate to girls? It takes us back to the conversation, and no matter where you are in this world, there are oftentimes stereotypical roles, assignments. You see, you have the issue of gender versus sex. That's another conversation by itself. But how gender is perceived and male roles. Now you'll find that the expressive nature, what the culture facilitates, and probably in a Caribbean context or in a Western context, you'll find males are taught to be tough and to be strong and don't be that expressive. Or when you're going to be expressive, it's a sense of dominance and not really just telling how you feel. And so experimentation with substances takes place. Yet again, the onset of first substance use around 10, 12, depending on the country, can go up to about 14 years of age. And the thing with substances, you start on one and you seek to get back that high that you once had, but you never get it back at the same dose. And so you go a little more, you increase the consumption. We talk about tolerance. That's what that speaks to, really. Tolerance. And yet again, going back to brain development at about age 21. So alcohol or any psychoactive substances, and by virtue of psychoactive substance, we're talking about substance that alters one's consciousness, your awareness. So you should be in a normal way, tired, you had school today, you had work today, but you have that report, you have that deadline, you have that final exam, you have something to do, and you need another 3 hours awake. But your body drained, your body is saying shut down time. What do? You reach for a stimulant. It could be a popular drink, such as a caffeinated beverage. And by virtue of caffeinated beverage, you have stimulants. Worldwide, we know of popular ones, Red Bull, or depending on what is made in your local area. And so you drink that. And in a jiffy or coffee, that's a popular one too, you feel alert, you feel up and about. So the substance has now mimicked that certain what you call it, chemicals within the body or structures within the body, like neurotransmitters, and they keep you up when you are so periodic overuse of those drugs over and over then causes certain mental health issues, substance related disorders. So you realize that it changes in personality.
Okay.
It affects other areas of your life, concentration. For individuals who are chronic substance users, there might be dysfunction sexually, and you wonder what's happening. It's because of over or excess use of a particular drug. You name it, cocaine, marijuana, cannabis. You have certain over-the-counter medication. Many youngsters, again, and that's why I become so passionate about it, they go farming, and that is PHAR. So they are their own pharmacists. So they mix the antihistamines and other over-the-counter or mental health drugs to get that particular high. So you have to watch out for that for youngsters. And that leads to many times what you consider a mental health issue are like comorbid disorders. You don't see one disorder without the other. So one follows it closely. So you got to watch out for our youngsters or youth. The developmental phases, adolescent experimentation, exposure to substances. Many times, believe it or not, an individual's first use of a substance is linked to their role models in and around their family, in and around their community.
What they see, they emulate.
They see them emulate. So understand how mental health issues impacts your productivity, your ability to be efficient and to give off your best. So what can you do to ensure that, hey, you stay mentally fit? As the song I started off by singing earlier. How do you say that? Now, one of the key things we want to say is understand your stress level. No matter who you are in this world, a child, an adolescent, young adult, old adult, understand your stress level. So how do you stay mentally fit? Understand your stress level. Do not take on more than you can manage. Do not take on more than you can manage.
That's to use, but that is so applicable to so many other persons. Yeah, so Dr. Wynter, that was the first tip. What are the other tips that you have to
Value
share?
yourself. Value yourself. And I'm big on that one. Value yourself. Who are you as a person? Don't let others tell you you have no worth or no good or put a value to you. You're priceless. Understand your worth and your work. And know that you're always improving you. So the person you were last year, last month, last week, there is something different. We're learning about ourselves, so you can imagine how others are learning about you. There's this activity, and I encourage you, wherever you are, find some time, the Johari window. Google it, go on the internet. The Johari window is it's a useful meta topic to understand who you are, the areas of yourself that you know that others don't know, as you value yourself. Take care of your body. Take care of your body. Eat on time. Get rest. Exercise as best as possible. So throw in that little bit of the physical as you gear towards medical. This is a big one. As you eat rest, as you get rest, eat well, surround yourself with positivity. Might be mindful of those people who will, you have personalities, and I'm happy for that. You have some persons who are pessimistic in nature, are optimistic in nature. Have a fair balance between yes. Give yourself a gift, appraise yourself, and value yourself. Give yourself something, reward yourself. There's this, if you are gainfully employed or you work, pay yourself some time. If in fact all the time, really, pay yourself.
Yeah, but I'm listening to my youth, and I'm saying I'm 15. I'm not working yet. My parents are taking care of me. How then do I reward myself?
If it is that you have allowances, save up something. If you look here, you get your. If it is you're in school again, and you save up your funds, if there's a gadget that you like, a device, mommy or daddy or your caregiver doesn't have to always purchase it for you. Save up and buy it and reward yourself. It means so much when you put your own sweat and they say blood in it that you can appreciate. Set realistic goals. As you take care of yourself mentally. Set goals and work towards your goals. Have dreams and take steps towards achieving your dreams. It's such a rewarding experience when You say to yourself, I want to go to college. I want to go to university. I'm going to get my externals, or I'm going to get the application, see what the requirements are, and work towards attaining those requirements. Fall semester comes, or the spring, whenever the entry period is, and you make that application and you see that acceptance letter, and you know that this goal has been achieved. So, hey, one goal has been achieved. What do? Move to the next one. So those are some quick tips how you can stay mentally fit. Yes, absolutely. Avoid situations that arouse you in a negative way. Know your triggers. Some persons have anger management issues. Know your cutting points. Step back. We talked about earlier, do not take on more than you can manage. And the last one that I want to end with, get help. Do not try to do all the things by yourself. Oftentimes, persons have walked similar paths. Ask, have you done this before? How can you help me to be a better me per se? So I really share those as you seek to get mentally fit. Keep in mind, if you're in the vulnerable period between 15 to around 25, or you carried up to 35, manage that well. A mental health issue can come at any point in your life. There are individuals who had children, they were quite fine up until age 4. They were quite fine until age 11. You have adults who are quite fine until age 24, when something traumatic would have happened.
And it triggers
And
something.
that's a major trigger. So watch out for that. You have your parents who are doing well up until age 65, and then the degenerative disorders start to take place. They lose memory, they lose recognition, and you wonder what's happening here. So enjoy life as it is in the moment, and be at peace with yourself as you're at peace with God, which is important for me, your creator.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wynter. It was a pleasure.
Same here.
No, I trust that you would have learned something. And even if you're listening, you're not within that age range, I am sure you would have garnered something that can only help you to have better relationships. This was Making It Last. I'm your host, Noreen Daly. Until next time.
I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life won't